video today on a topper for the tractor that I just bought. This is a Price Fallows 5-foot topper. It's an RT5, the model. So I've been using my father's 5-foot Fleming topper, but I've finally bought one of my own. And 5 foot's quite a handy size because this tractor will run a bigger topper, but I go through some quite narrow gateways to do small paddocks sometimes, so it's handy to have something that will fit through your gateways easy enough. And so it's 5 foot width and it's offset, so it's slightly overhanging the tractor, but the tyres on my tractor are quite wide. That's one disadvantage with a topper over something like a flail mower, is that the tyres will flatten lines of grass, and sometimes you'll have to go over it again in another direction to cut where you flattened the grass. But the idea of a topper anyway is just to keep control of overgrown growth. So that's that. This has got galvanised skids on this one, which is good. That'll prevent the rust a bit. You can adjust the height. There's a few bolt holes, so it's sort of set near the middle there. You can drop it down or lift it up a bit. A little bit of a fuss to unbolt them and put them back on, but obviously it's got to be very secure. So once you choose your sort of height setting, you're generally going to stick with that and leave it as it is then. So with this 5-foot topper, you need a minimum of 35 horsepower from your tractor, PTO. So this one's fine, this one's 75 horsepower tractor, so it'll run it no problem. And you've got straps on this one. Some of them have got chains for the stays. I guess if they can do straps when they manufacture them, they're obviously strong enough. One advantage I think straight away would be that when you drop the topper sometimes and these go slack, they're not going to damage your paintwork much like chains that would scratch about and take your paint off pretty quickly. So that's one advantage, I'd say, and they'd be easy enough to replace in the future as well. So this machine came with a PTO shaft, which is good. Didn't need to source one of those. It's got an oil reservoir on here, so you just unscrew that with a big Allen key and check your oil. It's got the usual shear bolt protection on it, so if you hit a stone or something, it'll break the shear bolt before it damages the gearbox. That's what that's designed to do anyway. And yeah, it's also got a galvanized bit of framework on the front, which is good, so it's nice to keep things from rusting. This isn't galvanized, just painted, so over the years you can just go over it with a bit of paint if it starts to rust anyway. So I haven't even used this machine yet, just thought I'd do a video of it while it's looking tidy. And as I said, it's made by Price Fallows, which is a company in Shrewsbury, Shropshire in England. So nice to use a bit of kit that's made in Britain as well. So for storage purposes as well, if you wanted to keep it in a shed, it's got a 5-foot cut in width, but it's slightly wider than 5 foot with the skids on the side as well. And I just roughly measured it out. It's about 6.5 foot long as well. My local farm machinery shop where I bought this machine, they kindly changed the pins on the front of the machine on the for the 3-point linkage. As standard from the factory, it had category 1 pins on it, which you could just put sleeves on the pins to fit your category 2 if that's what you've got, like these are. But if you're taking the machine on and off, then save messing about putting sleeves on the pins to fit and losing them possibly. It's easier to have the right size pins that match your linkage like these ones do now. Saying that, I have actually got a sleeve on the top link because this isn't a fixed pin. You just shove this pin in, and I'm not sure whether there is a bit of a gap there, so I guess you could, I don't know whether a category 2 pin would fit through this top link on the topper. So I don't know, I could try that if I find a bigger pin, just put a category 2 straight through if it'll fit. It's nice to have a new tidy PTO and safety cover on it. Over time these can get pretty messed up. This one's obviously it's new, it's got the chains on it to stop the covering from spinning. So it just clips on, you stick it on your tractor somewhere, stop that turning. What can happen, depending on what tractor you're using and whatever, sometimes if you lift the machine to clear something and the PTO is running, what can happen sometimes is that the body of the topper can hit the PTO shaft and it can over time cut into this and wreck that. But I don't think that's going to be a problem with this setup because I've already lifted the machine right up in the air and it doesn't come into contact with that, so it's clear with this. I think that could be the case maybe with a smaller tractor, maybe if the front of the PTO is a bit lower down to start with. Got some warning stickers on the front, as usual on all machines nowadays. Max PTO input 540 RPM, which I'm going to have to guess because my rev counter on the tractor doesn't work. Typical with an old tractor. Company name, contact details. As you can see with this topper matched with my tractor, the right hand tyre it's more or less level with it, and then it's inset from the left hand side by about a foot. But I chose this size, as I said, because it's suitable for me for getting in small paddocks. Ideally, perhaps a 6 foot inline would be good, but then even with that, if I have to do a tight turn, then the machine's going to be longer and you're going to have less turning space anyway. So I've been using a 5 foot one before, so sometimes it's best to stick with what you know. And this is quite a simple machine. It's got a single rotor with 2 blades. I was debating with myself whether to get a flail mower, but I thought there's going to be more maintenance involved with that, with flail hammers to replace and things. I know they do a better cut than a topper, but if all you want to do is keep on top of long grass, brambles and nettles and things like that, then a topper's ideal. And they will do a fairly tidy cut anyway. If you go over the bits where your tyres have flattened the grass down. A smaller tractor, like a 35 horsepower Massey Ferguson 35, then this would probably be better suited because your tractor tyres aren't going to be as wide and you're not going to flatten as much grass. That's the rotor arm with the 2 blades, heavy duty bolts holding them on. They do allow for a bit of give. If you did hit something badly, then the blade will turn on the bolt rather than smash your machine. But you've got the shear bolt as well, and just try not to hit anything anyway. But if you have a wider topper, then you may have 2 rotor arms with 2 different pairs of blades. So you need to check whether you get a left hand or a right hand. I mean, these 2 are the same blades, but they go in a specific direction. So if you replace them, replace the pair to cut down on vibration, and take one in the shop to match it to a new one. But as with all mower blades, you can resharpen them with a grinder if they're a bit blunt or some small chips in them. You can grind them out up to a certain point where they'll need replacing. Anyway, I'm looking forward to getting this thing in action.